Episode 6: The First Civilization Calendars. For thousands of years, humans had watched the sky. They had followed the movement of the sun, observed the changing phases of the moon, and built monuments such as Stonehenge and Newgrange to mark important moments in the year. These monuments helped people recognize the changing seasons, but as societies grew larger, a new problem emerged. Knowing roughly where you were in the year was no longer enough. Villages had become towns, towns had become cities, trade was expanding, governments were forming, religious ceremonies needed to be organized, farmers needed to know when to plant and harvest. Entire societies required a common system for measuring time. The age of the civilization calendar had begun. One of the first great centers of civilization emerged along the banks of the River Nile in ancient Egypt. The Nile was unlike most rivers. Every year it flooded, spreading fertile soil across the surrounding land. These floods made Egyptian agriculture possible, but they also needed to be anticipated. Over many generations, Egyptian observers noticed something remarkable. Shortly before the annual flooding of the Nile, a bright star known today as Sirius appeared in the dawn sky after a period of absence. This event became an important signal that the flood season was approaching. By carefully observing these patterns, the Egyptians developed one of the earliest organized calendars in history. Their calendar consisted of 12 months of 30 days each, with additional days added at the end of the year. Although it was not perfectly accurate, it provided a reliable framework that allowed the entire civilization to organize its activities. For perhaps the first time, large numbers of people could agree on where they stood within the year. Meanwhile, in Mesopotamia, between the Tigris and Euphrates rivers, another great civilization was developing its own approach to timekeeping. The people of Mesopotamia paid close attention to the moon and developed calendars based largely upon lunar cycles. Each month began with the appearance of a new moon. Priests and astronomers observed the sky carefully, recording what they saw and using these observations to organize religious festivals, agricultural activities, and government affairs. This created a challenge. 12 lunar months amount to approximately 354 days. The solar year, however, is around 365 days long. Without adjustment, the seasons would slowly drift through the calendar. Over time, civilizations developed methods of correcting this problem by adding extra days or even entire months when necessary. These adjustments helped keep their calendars aligned with the seasons. What may seem simple to us today was actually a remarkable achievement. Human beings were no longer simply observing time. They were creating systems that allowed millions of people to coordinate their lives. Farmers, merchants, priests, rulers, builders, and traders could all work according to the same calendar. The calendar became one of civilization's most important inventions. Calendars helped determine when taxes were collected. They established the dates of religious festivals. They organized trade and commerce. They helped governments plan large construction projects and coordinate the labor needed to complete them. Without a shared calendar, many of the achievements of the ancient world would have been far more difficult to accomplish. As the centuries passed, calendars became increasingly sophisticated. Observers recorded the movements of the sun, moon, and stars with growing precision. Knowledge accumulated generation after generation. What had once been passed down through stories and memory was now being recorded and preserved. Yet despite these advances, there remained an important limitation. Calendars could tell what day it was. They could tell people what day it was, what season it was. They could even predict important events months in advance. But they could not accurately divide a single day into smaller units. As trade expanded and societies became more organized, people increasingly needed to know not just the day, but the time of day. How much daylight remained? When should a meeting begin? How could time be measured when the sun was hidden by clouds or after darkness had fallen? The next great challenge in humanity's relationship with time was no longer measuring the year, it was measuring the day itself. In the next episode, we'll discover how ancient civilizations developed the first true clocks using shadows, water, and ingenious inventions to measure the passing hours long before the invention of mechanical timepieces. If you're enjoying this journey through time, Please subscribe and click the notification bell so you don't miss future episodes. And if the next episode is available, you'll find it linked on screen. Thank you for watching. This should sit at roughly